Pit Crew. This is a race game, or I should say a race game of sorts. The theme is, yes, car races, but the perspective is an unusual one. It is about the unsung heroes that change the tire and fuel the tanks of the cars that then go out there and get all the fame and get the spotlight. So in this game, players will control pit crews and they will be trying to refit and prepare the cars that has been assigned to them more efficiently than the other players or teams do. Players or teams, because yes, this is a game for 2 to 9 players, and it can be played in teams too. When you have more than 3 players, you split the players in teams. Now, you have a board here representing the track. Each team or player will have a car that will move along this track, and when you complete a lap, you mark it there, and at the end of the game, the team that went the furthest wins the game. It is the end of the game that team wins. So, but how we get there? Again, this is important, but the emphasis of the game is on what happens here as players change tires, fill the tank, and starting from turn 2, also check the engine of each car. The game lasts 3 turns, and each turn has a dedicated board. You use the one with the 27 written on it in turn 1, you flip it to 29 for the second turn, and then you have 31 for the third turn. I guess there's an optional 4th turn with this at the side of the board, but let's start from here. Players or teams receive a hand of cards. Actually, each player receives a hand of cards. They have numbers from 1 to 10, and the numbers are printed in white or black. And for the purposes of the game, for reasons that you will see, there's a game where numbers are circular. That is, 10 is next to 1 or adjacent to 1. So each player receives a hand of cards, so the number of which depends on the number of players in that team. Then you place your draw that somewhere where all players can access it easily, and then the game is ready to go. This is a game that doesn't have discrete turns. Once you start the main turn or section or phase, call it whatever you like, then players can act at any time and as often as they can and want. And they're also free to discuss among themselves the strategies and what they have in their hand and what they should do, and so on and so forth. Now, what you're trying to do is to align cards next to each tire, and to create a pool of cards here. Then later, when we have the engine, you're also trying to place there two pairs of cards, or a pair of cards in the second round. So once you play a card, it cannot be moved, it cannot be picked up, change of position anywhere. You have to go. For the tires, each tire counts as changed and efficiently changed if the players place a line of cards next to it, a line of 4 cards exactly, each card being 1 number higher or lower than the previous one. So from 8, I could place a 9 or a 7 there. Since I placed a 9, next to it I can place an 8 or a 1. Once you play a card, you may draw another one, but you don't have to. You may decide to play a bunch of cards all in a row real quick and then worry about drawing. I had a 4, I place a 3 and a 2 there. Now I refill my hand. The 10 goes here, I refill my hand. Okay, then I place a 9 there, so that one is complete. When you complete one of the sections of your car, you have a small deck of cap cards. 4 represent tires, 1 for the engine, 1 for the tank, and you place it there just as a reminder for the players that you're done there. Then I draw this other card here, and now I am a little bit stuck, because 6, 6, 2, I don't see anything that I can do here, with a 2 here and a 6 here and a 2 there. So I'm gonna ask other players, so what is everybody else doing? Ideally, they keep playing cards. Maybe another player has these cards in their hand, so they go like this, then I can go like this. and then we're stuck again, and so on and so forth. You can discard, yes, because sometimes your hand is full, there is nothing you can do, and then you can discard to draw again. But when you discard, well, that's not so good, because at the end of the round that may count against you. That is for the tire. The same mechanic applies to the tank, the same mechanic that you're playing cards and refilling your hand. But now what you're trying to do is to get cards in here that added together give you exactly the number there. So any number here that then, any combination of numbers that when I add them together gives me 27. So this could be a good idea usually to dump low number cards, or in any case cards that you don't want. But if you play the big ones, say I play a 10 and a 17 and a 9, well, I filled it up quickly, as opposed to if I dump small cards, and I can dump a lot of them in there, pretty much allowing me to cycle through my hand, without having to discard, which again is not good. As we are playing, if you're playing a later round, the one where the engine also becomes a consideration, I need to place a pair of cards next to the engine that have the same value. So like in this case, 2 8s would be fine. If we are playing in the third round, then it's 2 pairs, which may be the same card, maybe 4 4 4 4, or it can be 4 4 5 5 6 6 7 7. 2 pairs, which may or may not be the same as each other. Once you have finished your car, or you announce that you've finished it, it's also possible to decide, what the heck, it's not perfectly done, but just go. However, when you finish your car, in a case when you're done, if you're the first team or player to do so, you grab this die and you start rolling it. And just again, there are no turns, so you just go, you just roll, and roll. And roll. It's amazing. I rolled a 6. Every time you roll the 6, you move your car by 1, and you keep rolling, and you keep rolling, and you keep rolling, and you keep. I think you figured out what happens next. You keep rolling. Yeah, I rolled a 6 again. You're in a team. You probably have one player rolling and another player moving the car. When in a two-team game, when the second team is done, then the team that was rolling stops rolling. In a 3-team game, there are going to be 2 dice. So the first team is done, rolls and tries to move. The second one rolls and tries to move. And the third team doesn't roll and simply says stop. Pretty much there will always be a team that does not roll, does not move, and simply ends that phase. At that point, we check accuracy, we check if the players were able to complete their task in an efficient way. So we're gonna go through each car and see if the car was completed efficiently. And if it's not, there's gonna be a penalty. So each die card which is not correctly placed gives a penalty to you, which pretty much means gives a bonus movement to all other cars in the race. Each card from a tie that is missing gives 2 points of penalty to you, which again means 2 points of bonuses to the other cars. For the tank, you get a penalty, and that means other players get a bonus, equal to the difference between what you have here and what is required on the car. Doesn't matter if it's above or below. If you have 29 or 25, the opponents still get 2 spaces to go each. And when it comes to the tank, when it comes to the engine, each missing or incorrect car in the engine section is worth 2 penalties to you, and that means 2 bonuses for other people. Other people also get to advance 1 space for each 2 cards that are in your discard pile. That's why it's bad to have a discard pile at all. Finally, if any of your areas was completed with cards that all have the same color, that is all white numbers or all black numbers, you get to move your own card by 2 spaces. Each area that is completed correctly, has cards of only one color, gives you 2 extra spaces. That is the end of the round. Players then will acquire Monkey Wrench cards, which will give you special abilities. They may count as cards. They may give you different things. There is one which is super powerful that lets you move when you roll. A 5 or a 6, not just a 6. And of course, I want to show it to you. And of course, I can't find it. It was the last one. So this is a good one. Nope, that's not even that one. Did I lose that card? Did I dream about it? It's somewhere. Anyways, these cards will give you different powers and abilities. So this is how the game works. There you go. Was the one that was not in the deck. Was like sitting there. So this is how the game works. 3 turns in which players play cards around the car, trying to do as fast as possible to roll, try to make as few mistakes as possible so they don't give bonuses to other people, use their cards and abilities, and at the end the player or team that moved their card the furthest is the winner of the game. I really like real-time games. I like the adrenaline. I like how fast they are. I like the fact that I'm just, there's no dead time. There's no downtime. I'm always trying to do something. And I really love also to play such games with my daughters. Not around bedtime because that gets them all excited, but maybe, you know, in the middle of the afternoon when then they have some time to decompress before bedtime. And one such game is one of my daughter Louisa's favorite games. That game is Meteor, where you're cooperatively working to create sets of cards before the meteors destroy the Earth. So I had really high hopes because this seemed like just fine. It looked like the kind of game that I was going to enjoy with my adult friends and possibly also with my children. Somehow didn't work for me or for anybody in my group, really. I haven't even played with my daughters. Maybe that is the target. Maybe this happens to be a children game disguised as a hobby game that you can play with your adult friends. But the experience of playing this game so far has been so underwhelming that I just feel like putting it on the shelf and not even try it with my daughters. And maybe they'll enjoy it. Actually, but come to think of it, I don't think they'll enjoy that idea of the real time with such a strong competitive profile. And I'm not sure what's missing here. It's like all the components, all the ingredients of the recipe are there, but when you put them together, the overall result is not that flavorful. It doesn't taste like much. We were doing what we were supposed to do in the game dutifully. We went through the motions, but we never had that adrenaline, we never had that excitement. We were working fast, and sometimes just moving fast, automatically your mind adjusts and you get excited to keep that up. Nope, we were just going faster. Like, I have a 2, do you have a 4? You have a 4, I have a 5, done. Do you have a 6? Perfect, I have a 7. Oh, we have a 10 and a 10, we need a 7, boom, done. Or, okay, we are still struggling here with our cards, and the other team has been rolling for a long time. Why don't just cut our losses and close it here and be done, and they'll get a lot of points or extra movements because of our penalties, but it looks like otherwise they'll be rolling for 20 minutes. At least I don't want them to get carpal tunnel on top of the fact that you're winning the game. So we were going fast, but somehow it was unexciting. And I guess one of the problems was that winning or losing, we didn't get much of a sense that our skills, our team abilities really accounted for all that much. Luck is a huge factor, and sometimes you just don't have the cards, I'm sure that if you played a lot, strategies emerge, and there's some obvious strategies. Try to keep your options open for as much as possible. Dump certain cards in the tank of your card or in the discard pile. But it gets to a point where no matter how well you did, you'll find yourself stuck. And how many cards you're gonna draw before you can get yourself unstuck, that's completely random. And if you don't find yourself stuck at all, either you are some friggin' genius, I don't know how you did it, most likely you got lucky. At least that was the sense. Win or lose, I didn't feel disappointed in myself or, ooh, I know how to do better now, I learned something. I didn't feel that collective disappointment when I lost. I didn't feel that sense of pride when I did well. I just felt like, okay, we could have done the other way, and I would have barely noticed. On top of this, luck is magnified by the fact that if things are going bad, they're gonna go worse, and if things are going worse, they're gonna go worser. I said the word worser, and I'm stand by it. Because if the opponent is rolling, is because I'm already behind. So, and that's fine, but then pretty much either I am completely at the mercy of luck as I'm waiting for more cards and they keep rolling and they keep going, or the decision I can make is to stop right there. Fine, stop rolling. I'll just put caps on the tires and let the cars do it and end the round now, no matter how terrible my car is right now. So if I'm already doing bad because I'm not done, I can keep doing just regular bad or trying to cut my losses, which maybe have an even worse effect. So there's sort of like a snowballing effect when things are going well or bad or poorly. Yes, the wrench cars that give you different powers. They act as a bit as a balancing mechanism there, but again, they may bring huge swings of fortune. Some of those cards, they count as a wild card. Okay, fine, and then instead of three cards, and I can find the fourth one, I'm gonna put it there. And I'll close that one. But for example, the card that lets you move with a 5 or a 6, that is not about saving you a penalty of 1 or 2. It's about seeing the other players doing laps and laps and laps. So also those wrench cards don't seem to be balanced all that much. So in general, what happened? We played it, and after playing it, we were looking at each other. No one really hated it. I would say that some of these complaints are coming out afterwards in me just thinking like, well, what went wrong? I would say nothing as we were playing went terribly wrong. It's just that there wasn't anything that felt particularly right, that felt truly exciting. We looked at each other, we're like, sure, okay, fine, it wasn't bad. But no one asked, can we play it again? No one said, why don't we, let's try it again. Maybe it was only so and so, but maybe I saw the potential, maybe next time. No, my friends were politely trying, putting the components away, looking at the games around the room, kind of like hinting at the fact, can we play something else now? We gave this one a try. One went as far as saying, if I die without ever playing this game again, I think it won't be a tragedy. That maybe a little less melodramatically kind of captures my feeling too. It felt a game somewhat unremarkable, somewhat tasteless, like tofu, but not that nice tofu when you add a lot of stuff and it doesn't taste like tofu at all. Tofu at its natural state, which is, I don't know what tofu is at the natural state. I don't really want to know it, I guess. Every time I tried it, people had already fixed it a little bit. It is tofu how I imagine it to be, completely flavorless, almost completely flavorless. We just didn't enjoy it, and we didn't find anything particularly exciting or interesting mechanically or from the point of view of the pace or the excitement. It's a game in which it looks like all the parts are there, all the components are there, but they don't come together in a way that really feels interesting or exciting. So, Pit Crew. I guess that's my opinion.